Marie! Marie!
What?
Babe, can you go get me some more Cubanisto? I don't have any more Cubanisto, please.
Pardon? Mais ça va pas ou quoi? Mais va le chercher ton cubanisto. Et lui non? Il est fou, mais je crois pas. Mieux.
Okay, so the other day I was talking to a friend because I was banging on Zac Taylor again because apparently that's what I do. And I was talking bad about Zac Taylor. And to add context, I was saying I gotta stop talking so bad about Zac Taylor. And he's like, yeah, well, just give him a chance. I was like, dude. And then I started banging on Zac Taylor again. And then I realized my friend, he had no idea why I was banging on Zac Taylor. Like, I thought we as Bengals fans, we as NFL fans, we all kind of knew what the deal was with Zac Taylor. And apparently, there are some people who actually just did not know why I was always banging on Zac Taylor, even before he got the job, when he was rumored to be getting the job. I didn't know that there were people out there that did not understand while I was banging on this dude. So I had to lay everything out for my friend. 2017, the LA Rams, the head coach was Sean McVay, and the offensive coordinator was Matt Lafleur. But for all intents and purposes, Sean McVay was the offensive coordinator, and Lafleur, he was just there, and he was like, well, I want to be a head coach someday, and I'm not going to be a head coach if I'm not getting credit for being an offensive coordinator, because Sean McVay is the offensive coordinator. So at the end of the 2017 season, he became the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Now, he made that move, and after 1 year, he parlayed that into the head coaching job for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so at the time in 2017, Zac Taylor was the wide receiver coach. So then he got a promotion to the quarterbacks coach, but there was no offensive coordinator. So what did Sean McVay do? Sean McVay said, hey, you know what? Why go through the facade, the charade of hiring an offensive coordinator when I am the offensive coordinator? So here's what he did do. He took a guy named Aaron Cromer, the offensive line coach, and he made him the run game coordinator. He took Shane Waldron, who was the tight ends coach, and he made him the passing game coordinator. So basically, if you're trying to figure out a map of the hierarchy of things, you got Sean McVay, you got Aaron Cromer, and you've got Shane Waldron. So in 2018, the Cincinnati Bengals, at the end of that season, the Cincinnati Bengals decided to move on from Marvin Lewis, and the Bengals decided to move on, and they wanted an offensive-minded coach, and they decided, hey, let's go get Zac Taylor. Not Aaron Cromer, not Shane Waldron, but Zac Taylor. So he wasn't even standing next to Sean McVay. Zac Taylor was the man standing next to the man, standing next to the man, standing next to the man. From the beginning, it made no sense as to why we would want Zac Taylor as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. And then Zac Taylor decided he's going to be the person calling plays. Like, he is the de facto offensive coordinator. We have Brian Callahan, but Zac Taylor's the one calling plays. Zac Taylor is the one making those offensive decisions on Sundays, and we all know how that went. After Zac Taylor's first year with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals went 2-14. Now, I didn't want him in the first place. After the Bengals went 2-14, I was like, dude should be fired. Like, dude, that's enough. We've seen all we need to see. He should be out, right? And people are like, no, you have to give him a chance. We can't fire a dude after the first year. And I was like, do you not remember Steve Wilks? Steve Wilks, Arizona head coach, Arizona Cardinals head coach for 1 year. 1 year, he went 3-13, boom, out the door. Get him out. Zac Taylor went 2-14, and we have to keep him around. We have to give him a chance. Now, after the disastrous 2-14 season, where I just thought he was trying to get Andy Dalton killed. I thought he was trying to get Ryan Finley killed. Always, all he did was block defensive ends with tight ends. Like, that seemed to be the offensive scheme in 2019. Block defensive ends with tight ends. And let's just see how many times we can get Andy Dalton hit. Let's just see how many times we can get Ryan Finley hit. And then let's just say they're both horrible, so we need to move on from both of them. And I almost forgot. In that 2019 season, Shane Waldron, he was already pass game coordinator. So then he became the quarterbacks coach as well. So he was doing two jobs. He was doing his old job and he was doing Zac Taylor's job in one person, Shane Waldron. Now, why do I keep bringing up Shane Waldron? Because he was in the news recently in this most recent hiring NFL cycle where he became the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm just saying, it could have been worse, Seattle Seahawks fans. You could have hired Zac Taylor as your offensive coordinator. But we didn't even do that. We just skipped a step and we just made him our head coach because he was supposed to be the next Sean McVay because he was the man standing next to the man, standing next to the man, standing next to the man. I'm kind of thinking now, like, what was Aaron Kromer thinking and what was Shane Waldron thinking when they saw Zac Taylor being considered for a head coaching job? Like, he just ran right past him. He passed goal, did not collect $200. He went right past those two and became the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, there comes a certain point where, and this is what I was talking about with my friend, I can't even be mad at Zac Taylor because it's not his fault. If the Cincinnati Bengals were to come to me and they were say, hey, Cincy DeFrance, do you want to be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals? I would be like, hell yes, I want to be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Absolutely. If the Cincinnati Bengals came to me right now today and said, do you want to be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals? Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm not going to say no. So I don't know why I should have expected Zac Taylor to say no. I don't understand it. And now we're giving this dude a third season with the second season of Joe Burrow after we already got him killed in his first season. Now he's going to come back and we hope to keep him upright, protect Joe Burrow at all costs. How about protecting Joe Burrow from Zac Taylor? Blocking defensive ends with tight ends all the time, consistently. This seems to be like a thing. It's hard for me, like I said, it's hard for me to always be mad at Zac Taylor because at some point, I'm looking at the front office, the Bengals front office, and I'm saying, this is predictable. This is what you're going to get. Why would you do this in the first place? So basically, the Bengals are trying to hit a home run. They were trying to get ahead of the young offensive genius curve. They thought they could get the next Sean McVay. They're out here trying to hit a home run. Instead, they struck out looking. We're trying to hit a home run here, but we can't. We're just going to send you up there and see what happens. And that's basically what the 2021 season is about to turn into. Zac Taylor, we're going to send you up there and we're going to see what happens. If that's the case, if we're already hedging our bets for the 2021 season, what the hell are we doing? Bengals fans, if I had gotten my way, just think about it like this. If I had gotten my way and Zac Taylor was fired after this past season, would you be on board with the Cincinnati Bengals hiring Mike Kafka as the head coach? Mike Kafka. Yes, that Mike Kafka. Would you be okay with that? Because basically, that's the same thing. The Cincinnati Bengals pass over Eric Bieniemy and Eric Bieniemy run game coordinator to hire Mike Kafka as the offensive head coach. That's pretty much what the Cincinnati Bengals did in the hiring of Zac Taylor. Now, you got guys like Eric Bieniemy looking around like, what the bleep? You got guys like Shane Waldron looking around like, what the bleep? You got Aaron Kromer looking around and he's an offensive line coach, but he might be like, wait a minute. This dude? And just remember, let me throw this in here. Just remember one thing. Adam Gase with the New York Jets, with the worst run franchise in the history of the NFL, if you listen to everybody, went 9-23. 9-23 in 2 years. Zac Taylor with the Cincinnati Bengals, 6-25-1. But Zac Taylor, we need to give him another shot. Adam Gase, out the door, fired in New York. Zac Taylor, bring him back from year 3. We expect great things from him. We're going to give him another chance. We're expecting results this year. What the hell kind of results are you expecting? I'm going to try to not talk bad about Zac Taylor anymore. I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. So Zac Taylor is back for the third year. What's the best case scenario for Zac Taylor this year? Obviously, the name that gets thrown around a lot is Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, he had a losing record in both his first 2 years, and then he came back with that wonderful season, 13-3 with the 49ers. I want the Bengals to have a great season. Obviously, I just don't think it can happen with Zac Taylor as the head coach. The worst outcome would be the Cincinnati Bengals go 8-8, but it's like they're 4-8 after 12 weeks, and then they run off 4 games in a row, and now all of a sudden we're 8-8, and people are talking about momentum, and we're going into a 4th year with Zac Taylor, and that would be just awful. That's basically what happened last year. Von Bell hit Juju Smith-Schuster hard one time. We got a week of memes, and Cincinnati Bengals were feeling good about themselves because a safety hit a wide receiver hard one time. So yeah, and we beat Pittsburgh. Then the last game of the season, we went down. We were losing badly, and for some reason, Zac Taylor decided to kick a field goal against the Baltimore Ravens. He kicked a field goal, and we scored 3 points that game. If we hadn't kicked a field goal, if we had gone for it on 4th down and we didn't make it, and we would have gotten shut out by the Baltimore Ravens on the last game of the season, I'm pretty sure that would have left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. This boy genius getting shut out in an NFL football game. That would have been the last thing we remember, and that would have superseded Von Bell hitting a wide receiver hard one time and beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm convinced. I am completely convinced. If Zac Taylor hadn't kicked that field goal, he might have lost his job at the end of the year. But again, I'm sorry. I digress. So what are the best case scenarios? Kyle Shanahan, 13-3, and I don't even think, because now Kyle Shanahan is like he's got a losing percentage. His winning percentage is under 500 in his 4 seasons in San Francisco, in spite of that 13-3 start. I just had an epiphany. Can we trade Zac Taylor for Kyle Shanahan? Like, is that a thing? Like, could we actually trade coaches? Like, could we work that out? Maybe. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not sure that would work. I'm not sure Kyle Shanahan will want to come here. I don't think the Bengals will be forward enough thinking to actually even think about something like that or even pull it off. But hell, why not? We could team Kyle Shanahan up with Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals fans would love that. We get Zac Taylor out of town. I would love that. And I just said I was going to stop banging on Zac Taylor, and here I go again.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop you fucking lying.
Anyway, just thinking out loud, just had the thought. Now, with all that being said, I would like to offer Zac Taylor some advice. Here's 3 pieces of advice I would give to Zac Taylor. 1, give up the play calling. Let Brian Callahan be the offensive coordinator. Let him coordinate the offense. Your offensive play calling is not very good. Yes, the execution isn't very good, but the play calls aren't exactly great. Second piece of advice, be the quarterback coach. That's what you got hired to do. You got hired to, I'm guessing, elevate the play of the most important position on the football field, that is the quarterback. You got hired to fix Andy Dalton. I think if fixing Andy Dalton was possible. That didn't happen because you were too busy trying to be offensive coordinator instead of quarterback coach. Be the quarterback coach. And then we brought in Ryan Finley, and we damn near got Ryan Finley killed, and his play didn't elevate either. Take Joe Burrow from great to all-pro to Hall of Fame. Concentrate on Joe Burrow. Concentrate on whoever his young backup quarterback is going to be, or his veteran backup quarterback, whatever that's going to look like. Concentrate on that. Be the dude who you were brought in to be. Elevate the play of the quarterbacks in the quarterback room. And finally, don't let Duke Tobin get in your way. Don't listen to Duke Tobin. I don't think Zac Taylor was ready for this job, but part of not being ready for this job is not being ready to push back against Duke Tobin to push back against the front office of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, really quickly, I mentioned Shane Waldron's name a lot because in this most recent NFL hiring cycle, Shane Waldron got the offensive coordinator job for the Seattle Seahawks. Again, with Zac Taylor, he didn't even get a chance to become an offensive coordinator. He just got the head coaching job. Shane Waldron, he saw, hey, I am the passing game coordinator. Sean McVay is the de facto offensive coordinator. I have head coaching ambitions as well. I need to go somewhere where I can become a true offensive coordinator in the offense's mind. So Shane Waldron took the Lafleur route. He's going now to be an offensive coordinator for a defensive-minded coach. Now, this is where my advice for Eric Bieniemy comes in. I don't want to make this a black-white issue. This is not what I'm talking about, at least not now. So, my advice to Eric Bieniemy would be to do something along the same lines of Matt Lafleur, to do something along the same lines as Shane Waldron. More Matt Lafleur, because that would be more apples to apples. I would say to Eric Bieniemy, leave Kansas City. Now, Kansas City fans don't want to hear that. Kansas City players might not even want to hear that. But they're already saying, leave Kansas City, go get a head coaching job. Well, my advice for Eric Bieniemy would pull a Shane Waldron, would pull a Matt Lafleur, would pull a Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis did the same thing. Marvin Lewis was a defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. He was looking to get a head coaching job. He couldn't, and then he became defensive coordinator for 1 year with the Washington football team before he got the Cincinnati job. Eric Bieniemy might have to do something like that. Matt Lafleur had to do it for 1 year. Shane Waldron is looking to do that. Zac Taylor, don't know how, don't know why. He skipped some steps. He's not the only person who skipped those steps, but some people skip those steps, some people do not. Matt Lafleur, he had to take that step. So Eric Bieniemy, I know it might be a prideful thing. You don't feel like you should have to do that. I get that. I understand that. You look around, you see somebody like Zac Taylor, and you say, that dude wasn't even an offensive coordinator. Ever. And now he's an offensive genius, and he's a head coach. I get it. It's not fair. Now, it's a little too late for this coaching cycle, but next year, I would say, Mr. Bieniemy, please, go get an offensive coordinator job for a defensive-minded head coach for 1 year. 1 year. You don't even have to be a good offensive coordinator, because look at Matt Lafleur. In his one season with the Tennessee Titans, they went 9-7. They missed the playoffs, and the Tennessee Titans were near the bottom of offensive output. Now, Matt Lafleur is a good head coach because they've gone 13-3 the past 2 seasons that he's been in Green Bay. So I don't want to attack Matt Lafleur, but in that one season as offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, they ranked 27th. I'm going to read this because I had to write it down. They ranked 27th in points scored. 27th. They ranked 25th in yards gained, total yards gained, 25th in the NFL. They ranked 29th in passing yards, 29th. Overall offense, I think they ranked 26th in the NFL. I could be wrong about that number, but I think they ranked 26th in the NFL overall in this 1 year. However, they ranked 6th in rushing yards. 6th. It's a passing league. Those are not very good passing numbers, but he ranked 6th in rushing. He translated that into the head coaching job for the Green Bay Packers. So my advice to Eric Bieniemy would be, without talking about black, white, my advice to Eric Bieniemy would be, do that. Take that route. Find you a defensive-minded head coach who is looking for an offensive coordinator, and try and throw your name into that hat. I know you're trying to throw your name into the head coaching hats, but try to find a defensive-minded head coach and become that head coach's offensive coordinator. Or maybe you could just get a head coaching job next year, and we won't have to talk about this anymore. Unless, could you imagine, coming back to Mike Kafka, could you imagine Eric Bieniemy getting a head coaching job, and in that same coaching cycle that Eric Bieniemy gets a head coaching job, Mike Kafka gets a head coaching job, or Mike Kafka starts getting talked about. Now then the conversations will start up again. Is it fair? No, but it's been done before. Marvin Lewis did it. Matt Lafleur did it. That would be my advice to Eric Bieniemy. He wanted my advice, but why would he want my advice? I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and Cincinnati Bengals fans are the smartest fans out there. But we all know that because we all have subscriptions to PFF.